2026 is just a few weeks away, and there's a good chance that you're probably thinking of new resolutions for this new year. But I'm here to tell you, do not create new resolutions, do this instead. More often than not, the resolutions that people create fail. It's not because these people are weak or because they're incapable, but it's because these resolutions that they're creating are a little rigid, they're not connected to their identities, and they're a little unrealistic. Instead, what you should do is create a book of intentions. And in this video, I'm going to teach you what it is, how to make one, and why it matters. Let's get into it. So this is a friendly reminder. Why don't resolutions work? First, they're usually outcome based. It's lose weight, or save money, or do something similar. But that's not the ideal way that you want to lead your life. I've tried making resolutions before, and at the end of the year, when I realized that I didn't complete my resolutions, I felt guilty and I started to beat myself up. And in the end, it had a negative effect. And that shouldn't be the purpose of creating resolutions or intentions. And lastly, it can be tied to perfection. It's either you do it perfectly or you quit, and then the whole purpose is defeated. You don't do what you actually set out to do in the first place. The issue with resolutions is that they don't acknowledge who you are right now, how life unfolds naturally, or the things that you actually care about. Okay, so what is a book of intentions? Well, it's a simple journal where at the beginning of each year, you write down some intentions of things that you'd like to do throughout that year. They are not resolutions, they are intentions. They are things that you'd like to do, feel, explore, or practice throughout the year. One of the major differences between resolutions and intentions is that these serve as a compass for your life rather than an unofficial contract like resolutions can be. So what you'll do is you'll actually write down your intentions at the beginning of the year, and then you'll revisit it throughout the year. And the purpose of this is to help you stay aligned, to remind you about what you're trying to intend to do this year. It helps you to stay grounded, and it also just enhances that awareness of what actually matters to you. And then at the end of the year, you'll sit down, you'll revisit this page, and you'll just reflect. You'll check in with yourself. You ask yourself what went well, what didn't go well, why did it unfold this way, what could I have done better, where did I actually spend my time and energy instead of doing this one intention. But the great news is that if you didn't accomplish a few of your intentions, there's no guilt or pressure. It's something that you wanted to do, you didn't get to it for X reason, but that doesn't mean that you can't just transfer it over to the next year. I actually have a few intentions that I've had in multiple years in a row just because I haven't gotten to them for whatever reason. And that's something that I can think about and reflect on. And if after a few years I realize that it's not getting the attention that I want it to, then maybe it doesn't belong on my intention list at all. Or maybe I decide to bump it up and prioritize it more this upcoming year. So I've been doing this since 2019. I had the idea when I bought this journal, and I decided to write on the inside cover what it meant for me. And each year I have written intentions. I've done it usually just personal intentions. I have included relationship related intentions, but it's always been personal. And it's now creating a story of what matters to me and where my mind is at during these various years. Some years I have more intentions than others, and it's really interesting for me to see how I'm changing as a person. And as I mentioned, gives me a compass and helps me to stay focused on where my life may be going. Stick around, and while I'm teaching you how to create your own book of intentions, I'll share some of my intentions from various years so you can get an idea of examples from my own life, and maybe it'll inspire you for some intentions in your own. So let's talk a little bit more about why this works better than creating resolutions. First, it grows with you. So this book is a record, a document of how I've changed, or I guess remained the same over time. As you evolve as a person, your intentions can shift. And now that I've done this for 6 years in a row, almost 7, I have a clear picture of how I'm evolving as a person. Another way is that it's based on my identity. I'm not trying to fix myself. I'm simply trying to expand who I am. And I'm expanding by aiming high, by intending to do things that interest me, that challenge me, that help me to grow, and things of that nature. Very importantly, it also supports curiosity. If you watch any of my videos on this channel, you understand that I am a very curious person. If you watch any of the videos on my channel, you understand that I'm a curious person. These intentions that I'm writing encourage curiosity, and they don't pressure me in any way. And because they don't pressure me, it removes this shame cycle, right? And so if I'm checking in throughout the year or at the end of the year with these intentions, I'm not going to feel guilty that I didn't do or accomplish a few of them. I'm simply going to check in with it and try to figure out why. And that's like data that informs me and that helps me to adjust and to shift where necessary in my life. Ultimately, this is all reflection based, right? So I'm sitting down, I'm thinking about what matters to me in this moment in my life, how I want my next year to look like. I set these intentions, I'm checking in with them, I'm trying to build awareness and stay grounded. And at the end of the year, I can check in and determine if things went the way I expected. And if not, figure out why. And then I use that information and I carry it on. It's this awareness that I'm focusing on instead of anxiety that may stem from resolutions. That really is the benefit of a journal, a book of intentions like this. So how do you create your own book of intentions? Well, first you need to buy yourself a journal, or maybe you already have one and it hasn't been put to use yet. I found this at a shop in Mexico City and I fell in love with it, didn't know what I could use it for, and then I had this idea to write intentions. Allow me to share some of my personal examples. In 2019, I wrote, start learning a music production program, achieve intermediate to advanced level of Spanish, spend time with family in Indonesia. In 2020, start DJing. That is actually incredible to read because I did start DJing in 2020 during the pandemic, and now it's 5 years later. And I've had incredible opportunities to DJ in various countries all over Latin America. And I just had my biggest gig to date recently. In 2021, swim with whales, read minimum 5 books. In 2022, get a Mexican passport, visit a new island, incorporate yoga into my workouts. In 2023, take a cold shower for an entire year straight, summit a volcano, find a beach to live on. I did that one. I'm currently living on a beach in Brazil. In 2024, speak conversational Portuguese. I've also done that. Learn 2 new skills, ideas, boxing, calisthenics, capoeira, kite surfing. Observe the total solar eclipse. You can see that they're all unrelated and have a wide range from personal to experiences to just simply having fun. And then 2025, this year, try producing music again. So you'll see that's been on my list of intentions for a while now. I'm going to reflect on if that needs to stay on my list or figure out why I haven't gotten around to that one yet. Post YouTube videos consistently. Done that. Do therapy for minimum 1 year. Did that. Practice 1 full year of gratitude. Also did that. Explore more of Brazil. Also did that. Right. So in a couple weeks, I will be going home to visit family. I'm going to sit with this book and I'm going to reflect. I'm going to look at all these years. I'm going to think about the trajectory of my life. I'm going to think about where my mind and my heart has been. And that will help me to write my new list of intentions for 2026 with zero pressure, zero anxiety, but simple excitement and curiosity about what my next year may look like. I'm very proud of this book. It means a lot to me, and I think it will be something that I cherish when I'm much, much older. Let's say I'm 80 years old and I have 1 page from merely every year of my life from my 20s until my 80s. And that will paint an incredible story, an incredible picture of my life, how I've evolved as a person, and what I was interested in, what I was spending my time and my energy on. Next step is to write down intentions in any way that you want. So it could be a simple list like me, just write what comes to your mind. It doesn't really have to be organized, or you can do it in an organized way. So create categories, think of health, relationships, work, family, and so on. And underneath those categories, write intentions that are related to those categories. So that's another way to do it. But I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do this. Simply create a list in any way that you want and be intentional and thoughtful about it. My only recommendation, and maybe you'll learn this once you start this and you do this for a few years in a row, is not to do too much. Don't overdo it. There are some years where I wrote way too much and I later realized that less is more. And so sit down and think what actually matters to you. Create a list that feels like it represents and embodies you and that you'll have enough time to get to. If you have 37 different things in your list of intentions, there's no way you're going to be able to achieve all of those things. And you'll end up with a lot of things that you didn't even consider or touch. I think right now my average is 9 to 12 things per year. And as I mentioned earlier in this video, the goal is to reflect at the end of the year. revisit this page that you wrote at the beginning of the year and ask yourself meaningful questions. What intentions became part of your identity? What actually felt meaningful to you? And what can you carry on into the next year? Just examples of some prompts to get your mind going as you reflect. This matters because life doesn't change in a single decision. Remember, on this channel, we're designing a life of purpose. Life changes in attention, awareness, and alignment. Remember this, the Book of Intentions helps you to be anchored to the person that you want to become, not the person you think you should be. So that's it. I hope this video got you inspired and motivated to hit the ground running when 2026 rolls around. Get your own journal, create your own list of intentions, and then let the magic unfold. I'll see you in next week's video.